Perfect. Okay, thank you everyone for joining us again. This is going to be the last session of our financial course. Thank you. I know that it's a long day for you that already are provide for those who are providers already. But thank you for joining us. As always, please feel free to ask any questions as we go. You can type them on the chat. And let's see, I don't have any announcements today, but if anything comes up, I will email all of you. And Gabe, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Daniela. Welcome again for another couple of hours with financial literacy for you. And do you have any questions or any comments in regards to topics that we discussed last week or we've been talking about the weeks before? Before we continue, today's the last class, but we cover several topics. If you have any questions or any topics that you would like to revisit. I know that at the beginning of the class, when we talk about retirement plans, everybody was like, "Oh yes, that's what most of you wanted to hear about retirement plans." And I just need to make a disclosure that I am not certified or a licensed person that sells retirement plans. What we're going to talk about is instructional and is for the purpose for you to understand some principles based on things that I have experienced in the past. In the past, I had a Series 6 license and I was annuities representative. So I have some information that I will share with you. But any of this information, you need to discuss it with a professional, with a certified investor planner. And you can find them and they can explain you more and more, and probably some of the topics you already know. Any one of you have a retirement plan, a 401k, or anything that you have, especially those that work with the school district? No? Okay. No.
I just started a retirement, but I'm just barely starting out. And so I'm very curious about some options.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna, as I said, we're gonna talk some principles and generalities that will give you a good base so you can start talking with your financial planner. Okay, so let's share our screens and so the class for today is retirement plans, and we're just going to go over the basic. Pretty much are two things. One is qualified, and the other category is non-qualified. And what does it make qualified and non-qualified retirement plan? Pretty much is that one is pre-taxed, which is qualified. It is approved by the IRS, so you can pre-tax it. And the other one is after tax. What does this mean? This means that when it is pre-tax, you are buying it before you are taxed as an employee. Usually is as an employee. And this is most of the programs that you will see on the qualified are the 401k or an employer initiated retirement plan. It is before your taxes, before your tax, and before before your check is issued. The after tax, it is after you got your paycheck and after you have taxed, then you can buy some of the some plans. And we'll go over and how this apply to you that you don't have an employer, you're an employer, which ones will qualify and which ones you can qualify. So in your, let's say in your W-2, you get your paycheck. So before your tax, before they tax you, you can buy a qualified plan. So for example, you have your $1,000 paycheck. And before it's taxed, you're going to be taxed based on your bracket or based on your W-4 information. Before your tax, let's say you're a 13% tax, that means $200. $200, you want to invest $200 in your retirement plan. So you put those $200 apart from the $1,000, so you're going to have an income of $800. So your $800 are going to be taxed at your rate. So they're going to charge you $104 in taxes. So you're going to take home pretty much the $800 minus your tax. You're going to take home your $696 net pay. And the $200 are going to go into your retirement plan, Now, when it is after the tax, the same exercise apply. You have your $1,000, but then the entire $1,000 is taxable. So you're going to be taxed $130 for that pay, and you're going to take your net pay of $870 because you were taxed. All your money, all your income was taxed on that paycheck. So you come up with $870. So then out of this $870, you want to buy a retirement plan. You can put $200 to the side, and this $200 you buy, you buy your retirement plan. So pretty much after you pay your taxes and after you put your retirement plan, you take home the $670. So in this exercise, probably the difference is not much, but pretty much this is not that much. So this is how it works when you qualify, when you apply when you buy a retirement that is pre-tax and that is qualified, and the one that is post-tax. So most of the money is after your tax. Now, because there are pre-qualified plans, there's some penalties. And the penalty is, it's not considered a penalty. It's not, there's a penalty. I mean, there's a penalty if you withdraw after a certain age. But at the same time, when you withdraw this money, let's say you want to remove this, you want to take away this time of retirement, you pass the limit of law of the in which you don't penalize, and it's time for you to withdraw this money. This money is taxed when it's withdrawn. So you're going to be taxed. You're going to be taxed on the new bracket that you are at that future age. May not be 13%, maybe less because you're making less money. So you're going to be taxed either way. You're taxed before or after. In the non-qualified plan, you're taxed before because you're buying your money. You're getting your taxes paid. And once you have your taxes paid, you use your money based on your income, based on your disposable income after you pay your taxes. You put some money aside. So this money, when you withdraw this money, you're not going to be taxed. When you withdraw this money after the qualified money, you're not going to be taxed. And at the same time, there's not a penalty. There's not a penalty of age in which you have to be at a certain age to withdraw your money. So what are the options, or what are the instruments that fall in these categories? Well, first of all is the retirement account, individual retirement account, the IRA. An IRA usually is considered as a pre-tax. The 401k, it is a type of an IRA where the employer match the amount of money that you can, they can match, or they can participate a little portion into your retirement plan. And the after tax, it is called the Roth IRA, the Roth IRA. Or sometimes the after tax, there are other plans that could be a Coverdale Education Savings Account, or the Section 529 plans, which is like the prepaid tuition. There's not really retirement plans, but are plans that you buy a plan for the education of your children. So well, you as a consumer have this options, right? You can do your IRA, and you could put money in your IRA, or you can put money on you can buy a Roth IRA, because your money is as a business owner. As a business owner, you have multiple options, right? You have your business owner. You are a business owner. So how can you get taxed and use the product before tax and after tax? Well, there's what's called the Simplified Employee Pension. This is the SEP. And this is a matching contribution of an employer up to 25% of the employee's salaries. And the employee had to work in the past 5 years. That is, if you want to support the contribution of one of your employees. But you, as a business owner, you can buy your SEP. You can also buy your Simplified Employee Pension Plan, or what it is, the Savings Incentive Match Plans for Employees. That's another term that it is called. This is like an IRA, in which the employers with less than 100 employees can pay money can buy a retirement plan for their employees. I mean, you don't have employees. If you don't have employees, because let me backtrack a little bit. When you're a business owner, some of these plans you need to apply. You need to offer them to all your employees in your small business. You cannot. Some of them, they're not selective. It has to be offered to all of you. Whatever you buy, you have to offer to all of your employees. And there's some restrictions, or there's some options in which, depending if you have part-time employees or full-time employees, or the employee need to have to work for at least certain amount of time to be eligible to some of this pension plans. And many of this may not be applicable to you, but the one that is applicable to you is probably the KEO plan. The KEO plan, it is a professional practice plan for individuals or for businesses that file with a Schedule C, that files with a Schedule C, and this is the plan for you. This is the plan that is applicable for you, which is kind of an IRA, in which you will put money separate, you put money into your retirement account, and you have the benefit to either to save taxes it is pre-tax, because before your business pay taxes, you're putting the money on the side to buy your retirement account, and when you retire, you pay your taxes. So it is like an individual retirement account, but this you're not the consumer end, you are as business owner. So the most common one will be a KEO plan or a SEP, sometimes they call it SEPs. If you don't have employees, you can also use it as for your own self. So these are the options that you can do when you are a small business owner. There's also the self-employed 401k. This is what is called. You don't have full-time employees. You should not have any full-time employees, and usually is for the spouse and the employers and the part-time employees, and this is applicable for all type of commercial entities. So you can use it as a business, a small business, or as a Schedule C sole proprietor. You can also buy your self-employed 401k, and it works the same way as pre-tax. Pretty much, you are your business owner, and let's say you're going to make $10,000 for the year. You are going to buy your retirement account. So you put that in the same exercise of previous page, right? You have $10,000. Let's say you have $10,000 for the year, and you want to put money into your IRA. You're going to put $1,000 out of those $10,000 into your IRA, and before paying taxes on the $10,000, you put your $1,000 into your IRA, so your business is going to be taxed the $9,000 instead of the $10,000. But then when it's time for you to retire, those $1,000, then when you retire those $1,000 50 years later, or 20 years later, 30 years later, those $1,000 are going to be taxed. And the same thing applies to that. I mean, this is if you're going to do your self-employed 401k, if you do the KEO plan, or you do savings incentive match plans, or you do your SEP account, that's how it works. You can put the money aside before your tax as a business. If you file your taxes and you pay taxes on your $10,000, you already pay your taxes. So you take your money, you already pay taxes. You can still buy a Roth IRA. You can go to the bank and say, I want to buy my Roth IRA, because that money was already taxed. Basically, you're going to put your money into your retirement and what is called the Roth IRA. That means that your money has already been taxed. You already pay taxes on the $10,000, and you're putting that money aside. You're putting after your $10,000, you pay your taxes, and you're putting that money aside, and you buy your Roth IRA. As you can see, I'm going to go back to the previous page. It is the same exercise. It is, where do you want to start your retirement plan? Before you pay your taxes or after you pay your taxes? Obviously, when you do it before your taxes, in a way, you're forcing yourself to put that money aside, because that's money that you're not getting in, right? You're putting right away into your retirement account. If you do it after taxes, many times when you get your money after taxes, then all emergencies and all things start happening. You have to fix your car, you have to go on vacation, you have to pay the bills, you have to do things, and then that money that you have a little to save, or you have a little money to pay for retirement. So it is just a matter of discipline. How would you like this to work? How you put your money? Either you put your money before it's taxed, or you put your money after it's taxed into your retirement account. At the end of the day, is pretty much you're going to be taxed one way or the other. As we can see in this example, this person gets the $870, but if you put the $200 into your retirement account, you take home $670 after you put your money into your retirement. I mean, this one is a little more tricky because you have $870 and you put this $200 after the tax. You need to force yourself to make sure to put this $200 aside, and you will be taking home about $670. In this case, you're putting the money, the $200 before it's taxed, but you're taking home the $697. So it's pretty much, you get a net pay of $1 difference. In this case of $1,000. If it is $10,000, then you get a difference of $10. But this is just an example on how money works. So once you have the opportunity to put it before, you are taxed at the end of the day, at the end of the year for your after you file taxes, or you put it after you file your taxes and after you paid everything, then you put the money on the side. So now the plans that are, as I said, this plans are for the consumer, the IRA, the 401k employer match, or the Roth IRA, the covered day allocation. But as a business owner, in your case, you can contact your financial advisor. Says, I want to learn about the SEP, or I want to learn more about the simple, or I want to get a KEO plan. Basically, that's my retirement account, or I want to put my self-employed 401k. All this are pretty much the same. It is if you don't, if you have employees, then you have to consider, if you don't have employees, just think about the KEO plan. Employees, you're the only owner. This is for example, for attorneys that they have their own firm, or for architects that they have their own firm and they don't have any employees. It's just one person, and it's just one person who files. This is for proprietor. This is what's called the KEO plan, which sometimes it could be considered as a self-employed 401k. And as I said, you don't have 4 employees. You don't have to do too much. If you start having employees, then you want to make sure that your employees also get involved in that in that program. And then when you have employees, then you can consider a SEP or a simple. So these are the words that you can use with your financial advisor. And then of course there's the money purchase plans, which again is another option for business owners. that they can pretty much they're buying the pension plan for the employee. In this one, it's not applicable to you also because you're running your own show, you're running your own business on your own as a sole proprietor. But we can if you have any more questions, we can revisit a little more. But as I said, many of these plans may not discriminate. That means that if you have an employee, even an assistant, or your husband is an assistant, many times you have to offer the same retirement plan that you have. But if you are a single person, single sole proprietor, the KEO plan is what it is. This is more applicable to you, or what is called the self-employed 401k. If you have more than 10 employees, more than 2 employees, then consider it called the simple pension or the saving incentives match plan. And in your case, I don't think any of you has 2 or more employees. So these are the options that you can consider. And then when it's the money purchase account and purchase plan, the business must contribute. The business must contribute to the plans. So let's talk a little more about the pre-tax and the after-tax. There's some rules about those. Some rules. So there's some limit contributions in 2023 for your IRA, where you cannot put more than $6,500 a year if you are less than 50 years. If you are over 50 years, you can put up to 7,500. So there's some rules on on how much money you can pay. If you have your 401k, the same thing. I think it's $20,000 for if you're less than 50, and 750 if you are over 50. The same thing. It is there's some limits. If the younger you are, the more money you can put aside. The older you are, the less money you can put aside. The Roth IRA are the same. They have some limits on the Roth IRA. If you are there's 6,500 or 7,500. There's some age limits of how much you can contribute. And you can again consider this with your financial advisor. They can give you more details on what are the limits that you have. In the pre-tax, when you have 401k or an IRA, there's a penalty. There's a penalty if you of 10% plus additional tax if you withdraw your money before you are 59 and a half. And I know life has many turns, and people, they take money out of the IRA or out of their 401k to fund some business practices, or to buy the house, or to buy a car, or to take kids to school. And if you're 59 and a half, you're going to pay the 10%. So it's just basically you're giving yourself a loan with a high interest. And it saves the day, right? But you will be penalized, and that's not an excuse. And then when you are a certain age, you then have required mandatory distributions. That means after 70 years and a half, if you are able to survive that far, you need to start withdrawing money. You need to start withdrawing money from your IRA. You cannot keep all your money in the fund. You have to start require mandatory distributions. And this is where a lot of people, if they have a lot of money, then they say, well, I cannot use it all. So then they give it to charity, or they give it to nonprofits. But if you have a simple or a SEP, the limit is 70 years old. You have to be 70 years old, so you have to start selling your stock. Another thing that you consider when you are when you're working with retirement plans, and this is something that many times I get some questions for businesses, because they want to give something to the beneficiaries. They want to leave something for their families or for their children. So how does that work? Well, for For a spouse, if let's say you die, your spouse can inherit the amount of the IRA, and it has two options, right? And roll over into their own IRA. If I pass away and my wife has an IRA, what happens is all the money can be rolled over into her IRA. Or she can continue with her own, or she can continue with my own IRA, even though I'm not alive anymore. And there's not going to be penalty with early withdrawals, but the required distributions, they need to take place. They need to take place. Some of these terms may be a little confusing, but when you are, because you cannot withdraw money from your IRA or from your individual retirement account. It has to stay intact until you reach the age of 59 and a half. That's where you can withdraw some money without any penalty. If you're younger than 59 and a half, if you withdraw any amount, any quantity, you can withdraw some, you can cancel it, you can do whatever. But if you withdraw it from your account, from the retirement plan, you have to pay the 10% penalty plus the taxes that you are incurred as that age in which whatever bracket you are. So let's say you start your IRA for 30 and you have it comes to when you're 40, it's $10,000. You need to withdraw it, all of it. If you withdraw all of it, you want to pay your taxes of that money because it was initiated without taxes. So now you're going to pay taxes because you withdraw it. And at the same time, because you were 59 and a half, you're going to get a penalty of 10%. So those $10,000 is going to be minus 10%. That's $1,000. It comes to $9,000. And if you have a 13% bracket or 20% bracket, you're going to have like maybe $7,000 out of the $10,000. But those $7,000 may pay for whatever emergency or for whatever things you needed to use it for. But that's the way it works. So now, if I have my IRA and I haven't touched it, and I passed away, my wife or your husband, in case your spouse, can inherit that IRA, and she has two options. She can put, or he or she has two options. Can transfer the full amount of that retirement into her own IRA, which is a rollover. So if her IRA, in my case, let's say my wife, in my case, and she has an IRA for $2,000 and I have an IRA for $5,000. When I die, she has the option to transfer all the $5,000, roll it over. That's why I call it roller over. That means that you move it into another IRA account without paying taxes. You can change banks or you can change institutions, but you're not withdrawing money for your personal use. So you're not paying taxes and you're not paying the penalties. So she can roll over into her IRA. So her IRA is now $2,000 plus mine is now $5,000, that's $7,000. So her IRA is $7,000. And then the rules to the IRA applies to her. So she cannot withdraw when she's 59 and a half, or she must withdraw when she's 70 years and a half. Right? So that's one option. The other option is she can continue with her own IRA, $2,000, whatever it is, with following the rules, and she can keep my IRA intact. And she can withdraw monies without any penalties. But she has to pay the required distribution by the time I was going to be 70 and a half. They need to, I mean, she cannot keep it for longer. So let's say my wife is 37, or 49, whatever, and I die at 50. By the time, I mean, she can keep that money, but by the time I was going to be 70 and a half, then she needs to start making the distribution. She needs to start withdrawing money from the account, and every time the money is withdrawn from the account, it is taxed. I don't know if that will make clear. Many times you can think, well, what about my children, or what about if I'm not married, or what about if I select a donor? Well, the same thing. Not the same thing. What happens is my IRA cannot be rolled over. The beneficiary, which is not my spouse, could be my son, my IRA may not be rolled over. But at the same time, there's no 10% penalty if they sell the IRA, right? So my 10%, my 20% is I have my $10,000, they can sell the IRA. There's no penalty for them. And then the required mandatory distributions commence after 1 year of the death of the account owner. So if I die at 50, by 51, then the required mandatory distributions are required. That beneficiary, my son, needs to start using my IRA, and every time money comes out of my IRA, it is taxed. So those are the options about the beneficiaries if you want to think about your beneficiaries. So in the last couple of minutes.
Right, I just have a quick question.
Yes.
So sorry about that. My question is, say the spouse that has a Roth, so I'm so sorry guys, I'm still caring for kids. If I have an IRA and I am, say, of the age where you could pull it out without any penalties or anything like that, but my spouse is younger or vice versa, can they not roll over and then just withdraw and not be penalized? Does that work that way, or do I have it all mixed up?
No, I think you got it right. So you have your this is in case you die, right? Okay, so in case you die and you passed that age of 59 and a half, then your husband can just roll over the balance. I mean, it was just whatever balance there was, it can roll over to his own IRA. Or he can leave it the way it is and he can continue just withdrawing money after the 50, after you pass the 59, all you need is going to be taxed. He's not going to be penalized. Does it make sense? So there are two things. You're going to be penalized if you are 59 and a half yet younger to withdraw the money. But you're going to be taxed regardless. Regardless, anytime you withdraw money from your IRA, you're going to be taxed. Because you bought it before taxes. That's the key, because you bought it before taxes. You buy it after taxes, but it's called the Roth IRA, then other rules apply. So those are some of the differences. Your spouse can roll over that IRA into their own IRA, or they can continue with the IRA and the IRA continue as if you were alive, accumulating interest or accumulating benefits. But they can withdraw, there's no penalty, but also when I would have reached 70 and a half, then they need to take money out. If you're not a spouse, the beneficiary cannot roll over, so I cannot put that money into my IRA. I just need to use it. I just need to use the money, and when you're not a spouse. So I think we talked about the rollover or the transfers. This is your IRA. Your IRA as is a pool of money, because it is pre-tax. Anytime you withdraw money out of it, you're going to be taxed. You have to pay taxes. So if you don't want to pay taxes, you can, as I say, you can roll over into another IRA. So you can move, let's say you have, you're working with Bank of America and you have your account on your IRA is the Bank of America, and you want to transfer to Chase Bank. You can move your IRA to Bank of America to Chase Bank. As long as you not withdraw any money out of the IRA, you're not going to be taxed. You can move over one IRA to another IRA And that's what it's called, the rollover or transfer. You can transfer money from one IRA. You can have as many IRAs as you can have many retirement accounts you may have, right? You may have one with Fidelity and another one with, I don't know, with Schwab, or another one with Jones, and you say, well, I need to consolidate them. You can transfer your IRA from one company to the other to consolidate them, as long as you not withdraw money for personal use. You don't want to be taxed if you are 59 and a half. And even if you're not 59 and a half, you're going to be taxed because because your IRA was pre-tax. The government needs to tax it after when you withdraw the money. So that's something to consider. There are other instruments. There are other instruments that you can buy for retirement. I mean, those were the traditional. So in this first section, we saw what is the composition of some retirement plans, which is the qualified and the non-qualified, where you buy them before taxes, or you buy them after taxes. You know, that's pretty much what it is. You can buy your retirement plan before taxes or after taxes. That's one. The second one is, what are the options that you have as a business owner? As an individual, you can have, obviously, you work 1 year, you get your W-2, so you're an employee, so you're taxed. So you can, if your employer offers any program for retirement, you can buy your program. You can buy, you can participate on that. You can participate before taxes, or you can participate after taxes. And the same thing as a business owner. As a business owner, you can buy your retirement account before taxes or after taxes. So it's something that you can see how it works. And we saw some instruments. The most common for small business owners, like one individual sole proprietor, are the simple, the SEPs, or the KIOG, or the individual IRA. Those are the individual 401k. Those are the programs that you can discuss with your advisor, with your financial advisor, and they can give you options. And then the third section is, what are the benefits that I have as a beneficiary, and what are the penalties what are the time limits that I have to maximize the use, and some rules about it, right? I get penalized if I use it before 59 and a half, but after 70 and a half, I need to use I need to withdraw money, so I don't keep the money all in that account. We talk about the beneficiaries, could be my spouse or someone that is not my spouse. At the same time, both work with, right? You can be the beneficiary of your spouse, or the beneficiary of your dad or your uncle or whatever. So what are the rules on that? And also we saw a little bit of the limits. There's some limits. You cannot put all the money into your account. You cannot put more than, you won the lotto, and by the lotto you want to buy a retirement account. No, there's some limits that you have, and there are limits by age. There's some limits by age that you have to review those with your financial advisor. So now, what other instruments are there for retirement in which I can put my money to work? What are the kind of instruments there in which I can put my money to work? One is called the annuities. And the annuities, and also life insurance. And I'm just going to give some explanation of what annuities are. An annuity is basically, you purchase an account, and through time, and there's a time you put certain money in the account, and through time that account is going to gain some interest. So the company where you buy the annuities, sometimes are insurance companies, certain insurance companies, or financial institutions, by your annuity, they use that money, and they're going to try to make it work in your investments, in their investments. And as time goes by, that account will grow, and they will try to. Nothing is guaranteed in the financial world, right? So they will say, they want to work on the money, but then through time goes by, 10 years later, 20 years later, you want to start getting distribution of that money, right? So through time, you have money, increases in value, and through time, you deplete it as time goes by. Then after a certain period of time, let's say after you reach 30 years, you can start withdrawing that money from those annuities. And says, okay, so I put my money into this annuity, it built money, it built interest. So now when I reach 50, I want to withdraw my money. Again, these are not federally funded or federally regulated. These are more annuities, they're more independent. So you can use it. So there's what's called immediate annuity. Let's say you won the lottery and you can buy an annuity right away. And as soon as you buy it, you can start withdrawing money from it. So what happens is the insurance company or the company that has that money, they will make interest on that investment that you gave them, right? And you can withdraw the money with time. There's what is called the deferred annuity or the fixed annuity, right? The fixed annuity is, this is the name said, the fixed annuity is like at a certain period of time, you say, well, when I'm 50, I want to withdraw only, or I want to use only a fixed annuity, right? You say only $50 every month, and $50 every month until the money is depleted, right? Until the money is depleted. Or it can be a variable annuity in which you put the money and the money comes and goes, you build the money, but then as you distribute the money, sometimes you can say, well, I want to withdraw $50 this month, maybe, or $50 this year, maybe $1,000 next year, or maybe a certain amount of another month, maybe $2,000 next year, and maybe you withdraw as you need. So those are the two types of deferred annuities: a fixed annuity or a variable annuity. It's something that you can consider in doing. And that one again with your financial advisor. The difference is they're not penalty. It is your money. It is after tax. So basically, you give your money to another entity to manage your money. You build interest. They put the money into separate accounts so you can grow. And we talk about a little bit more about how they grow their business or how they grow your money. But then at a certain period of time, he says, okay, this is where I need to pay, and this is my limit, and this is where I want to start having distributions. And my distribution could be immediate, could be deferred, either fixed or variable, right? You can select on those things. So there are many options. The next instrument in which people think about retirement or try to make sure that money is left to survivors is, life insurance. In life insurance, there are different types of insurance. There's term. There's another one that is called universal or variable. And the next one could be final expenses. And the last one, it is whole life. And again, you can contact your insurance agent and they will tell you much more about that. The term insurance, basically, it is a fixed rate for a certain period amount of time, for a term of time. It could be for 10 years, 20 years, or 30 years. And it's going to be fixed. You say, okay, I insure you, the insurance company will say, I insure you for 10 years. And your rate for 10 years is going to be this much. And as and it could be, 30, you can insure you for 10 years, 30 years, or 20 years, or 30 years. But you will have some life expectancy. So again, same thing, the older you get, the less term insurance policy you can get because you're getting close to your death. So maybe when you're 40, they can give you up to 20 years. But when you're 50, they say, oh, you know what, I can sell you 10 years. Or when you're 60, they say, you're already past the line, there's no term insurance for you. I mean, you can check with different companies. Different companies are different plans. There are companies that can offer you term for when you're 90 or when you're 100. I mean, the companies will sell you something, right? But that's your life expectancy. So the older you get, the more difficult it is to get term insurance. And then the other thing is, after you pass that term, if you want to continue with your insurance, they say you can continue with your insurance, but now it's going to cost you this much. And you can do it they can give you a new rate, and it's going to be for another 20 years. And then they're going to renew it again and say, well, past 20 years, well, you can renew it again. If you want to continue with life insurance, you can renew it again. But now you're older, so the new rate is going to be this much. Or maybe when you are at a certain age and they don't have it, they go and the insurance company says, I'm sorry, but we cannot renew your policy because you're past the age of insurability. So something that you have to have in mind. And the term, so in a sense, is if you don't die, you don't use it. If you don't die in those 10 years, that money, you give that money to the insurance company. If you don't die in those 20 years, you give that money to the insurance company. If you don't die those 30 years, you give the money to the insurance company. So something that you can consider. At the same time, let's say you have a business. You are the house, you are the person that is sustaining your business. Will it be worth it to have an insurance policy for you as the sustainer, the main owner of the business? Yes. Can your business be the owner of that policy? Yes. So what happened if you die? Well, if you die, at least you have an insurance that will pay for that lack of business, because you are the person that's running the business, right? So for business purposes, the term insurance is very well used because that's what happened in partnerships, that's what's happened in business. If there's the executive director of a company that is progressive and is going forward, what happened if this person dies, then the company is going to lose that talent. So the same thing, if you are the main sustainer of your family based on your business, you are the owner of your business and you're the main sustainer of the family and all the expenses of the company, then it will be a good idea to have an insurance policy on you based on term, because you will be in the business for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, I don't know. So you may take that risk, right? That's something that you may consider. The other insurance policy is universal variable. And the way it works is different than term. Basically, they use a variable rate. And usually they say, well, you can buy a policy for this rate right now. And obviously they're going to sell you the cheap rate. You can start buying the policy of, I don't know, a certain amount of money for this amount of money. But you can then pay more as you get older, right? As you get older, you can pay more and you can insure more. So it's okay. But there's the tricky part. You have to see your life expectancy. Your life expectancy diminish as you get older. Your life expectancy diminishes as you get older. So what happened? The insurance says, well, as you get older, there's going to be another cost of insurance. The cost of insurance is going to increase. So basically, you are in a situation in which they say, well, you can start paying, $25 right now, and you can insure you for $100,000 or for whatever. Every rate is different. Every person is different. Every policy is different based on health, based on medical records, and based on everything, right? Sometimes if you're old or you have a lot of medical issues, you may not be insurable, right? But let's say, assuming that you're healthy and you can buy, you have the variable rate. That means that through time, you can sometimes pay little, sometimes pay more into your insurance, and sometimes you can pay $2,000, and then next year probably you can pay $4,000, you can pay $2,000, but there's a rate. However, the cost of insurance goes high, it grows exponential as you get older. The older you get, the more cost of insurance the insurance company is going to tax you. So then your life expectancy starts dropping. When you're young, you're expected to live more. The older you get, the less you're expected to live. So then there's a point in which there's going to be a gap between the cost of insurance and your rate that you're paying for your insurance, in which the cost of insurance is going to be much more expensive than your rate that you're paying. And there's going to be a gap of unaffordability for you. There's going to be a point in which you cannot pay more your insurance because you started with a variable rate. So what you need to do? Then you need to save, or you need to sell. Either you sell it, or maybe as you sell it, because it's universal, it says, your insurance is going to grow with time, and your insurance, yes, is growing with time, but then you continue paying the same rate, but then the difference of that gap for affordability, they start depleting the growth of your insurance, the accumulation of the account that was growing with your insurance. And then there's a point in which suddenly you have an insurance and they say, oh, you know what? You have to pay more because now your insurance is now your new rate, the cost of penalty, you need to change your rate. And that's a little difficult for a lot of people to come across this insurance. So they sell it to you as something accessible, but you have to make attention on the cost and the life expectancy and the cost of insurance factored into your insurance. The next insurance policy is final expenses. Basically, you pay for your funeral. Basically, you pay for your funeral. You can buy it right now and say, okay, I just need final expenses. They will say, okay, how old are you? You are 40, you're going to die at 70. Okay, probably the cost of an insurance, the cost of a funeral is going to be $30,000. You can buy a policy of $30,000. So when you die, you pay the insurance pay you for $30,000. You pay for your funeral expense. Will it work? Depends if you don't want to leave the burden to your family. The last one is whole life insurance. The whole life insurance, it is a fixed rate for 100 years. It's going to be the same rate for 100 years until you reach 100 years, right? If you don't die at 100 years, when you reach let's say you have your birthday of 100 years, 100th year birthday, the insurance will give you back the money or will give you the policy. Either way, because you survived the insurance. So in this one, the younger, the better. If you're at 38, 35, that's the best time you can buy your insurance because your rate will always be the same for the rest of your life. And maybe your rate for $100,000 or $30,000, maybe $30 or $40, $80, depending on the company. And it's going to be monthly every time, the same thing, the same information, the same amount every time until you reach 100, until you reach 100. The advantages of life insurance, except for term, either with universal or with whole life, is that they put the money on a separate account to build some principal, to build your account up. If you need to sell your insurance, then you can sell that separate account accumulation. There's money that accumulates in your account. You put money into your insurance, and then from that money goes some to a separate account, and that separate account grows with the market value. And there's a point at which if you still have that under your universal policy, you can sell that. If you are aware of that, then the insurance, the cost of insurance is going to start depleting your accumulation value. In the whole life, you also have that, and you can also sell it at a certain point, or you can get a loan out of it. You can get a loan, but you have to pay it back. So there are many options in this life in this type of investments of your money to try to secure your retirement or your final days. So this is another instruments, other instruments that are not ruled by the federal government. They have guidelines. So they're ruled by some entities, but different from the from taxes. This is after taxes. All other instruments are after taxes that are also open to the open market. Okay. Questions, comments?
Can I just ask real fast, can you clarify if I have an employee, like a high school student or a college student that comes a couple hours a day, am I required to offer them benefits?
Are they part-time?
What's that?
Are they part-time?
Yeah, if I have part-time people.
Yes, if they're part-time, not, the only benefits that you have to offer by the state of California are vacation time and sick time,
Okay, thank
which
you.
is part of the payroll. Now, if you have a retirement account, depending on the retirement account that you have, you may need to offer them also the retirement account. That's if you have a SEP or a SIP. But also depending on the time, the years that they've been working and if they're eligible. But that's something that you have to check with your retirement, with investment advisor.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. Also, not the Roth IRA. Now that is, we said, an after-tax account, correct? But there's
Yes,
penalties and still interest that you have to pay if you pull before you're able to do so. So that's like double tax. So does that mean like, because you've already paid taxes on that money, is it just on the interest that's earned during the,
no, the Roth IRA, because you already prepaid taxes, that's your money. You can use it as you need without any penalty, without anything. It's only when you're a certain age that you have to start withdrawing money. Only when you reach 70, you have, but when it's Roth IRA, ROTH IRA, because it's after tax, you bought it after the taxes, you already paid the government taxes, you can buy and you can use it as needed. Any other questions? Any other comments?
just another one on this regards of the 401ks. Who are the typical people that you would go to? I mean, I know the Roth IRAs, you can get them at a bank, but the kiosk ones that you talked about, the self-employed ones that you can get, who are your typical people that I would go to? Is it a bank? Is it like, who do I call, like Schwab's?
Any companies that does retirement plans, investments, I would say, I mean, I suppose not to say, this is not, I will say commercials, right? But, Fidelity, Charles Schwab, you can go to your bank, sometimes the Edward Jones, all those companies, they have multiple options that you can, instruments like that. They can go to your bank, or you can go and give you some recommendations. If you have insurance company, they can give you some recommendations. But if not, you can start with the ones that Fidelity is one, many others. And it was not a commercial. It's for educational purposes, and we're excluded for that, right? Okay. Let's talk a little bit more about the nature behind all this, all these things, how it worked, and probably you can understand a little better in this. So when basically you're buying, when your investments, your money in investment, they're things that they're buying, and it is what's called stock. Or as an investor, you want to be an investor, you want to put money in an investment because you want to really find ways to retire. You can buy your stock, you can buy stock, you can buy bonds, or you can have your cash. You can stash your cash under the mattress, and that'd be safe. Or you can just put money in the bank and start making savings account. And there's some difference between this types of, I would say, investment modes. When you buy a stock, you buy the ownership. You have some kind of ownership of a company. The company, when you buy bonds, you purchase the debt of the company, and we're going to talk a little bit about this. So, and the mutual funds, it is also another way, another word that probably you have heard, mutual funds, what is a mutual fund? Well, mutual fund, it is the combination of bonds and stocks, or just combinations, only stocks or bonds, is just a combination. And we'll talk more about that. And probably we heard about money market account. There's another term that you heard about, oh, I want to buy a money market account. Yeah, you can buy another money market account. We're going to talk about that. So these are the names. So we're gonna make an analysis of each one of them so you can understand a little bit more. Maybe you already know. So in the stock, basically you buy some ownership. You buy the ownership of the company. Usually it's a corporation. When you are when a company forms a corporation, maybe corporation S. I mean corporation C. Corporation C. When they go public, they use their stocks for capitalization, just to raise money, to get money so they can grow. So basically, let's say they have 5 million stocks, 5 million number of stocks, and they're going to go public. And they go with the market, they go with the bank, and the bank says, okay, your company is valued at $25 a stock, at $25 per stock. So they go what I call public, they go into the public market and they sell the 5 million stocks at $25 each. So how much money they're going to make? And once all the stocks are sold, they're going to make $125 million. And believe me, they're more than filling 5 million stocks. They can have 100 million, maybe 5,000 millions or whatever. There are many. You can, if you want to see some of the stocks that companies have, they go more than 5 million stocks. So anyway, they make with $125 million dollars. And of course, with those $125 million in one lump sum, that's where they can buy rockets, so they can make planes like Boeing, they can do something like a SpaceX, or they can do something like Tesla, or like Apple, like Nike, like all the Costco, Target, Dell. Just think of any of these public companies that they make the money because they went public. Initially were small companies and they needed to capitalize in order to grow, so they went public. So now let's say you were one person that bought this $25, the stock. After the market, the stock has a perceived value based on reports, based on what the market says, and then probably the company, that now the stock at a certain period of time, the stocks is worth $75. So what happened in time, your money, you made $50 because you bought a stock at $7.25 and now it's at 75. So now you make 50. If you sell it at 75, you make $50. And those $50 is your money. But maybe with time, right, your stock, the company didn't make good, or the market says, oh no, we don't like them, whatever, the value of the stock, and the stock is worth $4. Now you lost $20. Right, that's in time. So when a company goes public, the first time they sell their stocks, it is what is called the IPO, internal public offer. Right, it's what is called the IPO, and many bankers, maybe when you talk with your financial advisor, they can tell you you can buy IPO stocks if you want to make your money on IPOs, or you can buy after the market. After the market is already, for example, right now, Tesla has been public for maybe 25 years. So now the stocks that you buy from them are going to be after the market. But maybe right now a company is discovering, I don't know, the vaccine for the African fever, whatever. And they have the formula and they need to capitalize, they need to go public, and they're going to go public next week. Or if they haven't been public, you have the opportunity to do the IPO. So you can, when they go public, you can buy the stock at that price, whatever the price is, and then your stock price will have whatever the market value is. So these are the times where you can buy your stock, either at the beginning when a company is going public, or after the market. And believe me, your Roth IRA, your IRA, the annuity, the life insurance, they play with all this financial dynamics. Sometimes they buy stocks and sometimes they buy corporations. They buy the stocks or they have IPOs, etc. So That's how the stock works. Now, how about the bond? The bond, you buy a debt. And to make it simple is you buy the loan or the accounts to pay from a company. So let's say I have a company, my company has $50,000 in debt. I have a credit line that is $50,000 and I'm paying 10%. What can I do? I can sell my loan, I can sell my debt. And this says, what about if I get 5,000 people to give me, or 50,000 or whatever, as many people as I need to sell them $50,000 so they can buy me $50,000 and I give them a 3% interest. What am I doing? I'm selling my debt at a lower interest. So I, as a company, now instead of owning $50,000 at 10%, now I have investors that purchase my debt and I have to pay them only 3%. I don't know if you saw the difference between the stock and the bond. So now, in time, of course, all this investments, either the stock and the bond, need to be seen through time, right? In time, I'm making 3% interest. So what about if, as time goes by, the interests are getting higher? Am I making money or am I losing money? Or what about if in time, if the interests drop? Am I making money or I'm losing money? Just like the stock, the stock is based on the value of the market. With time, the bonds is based on time. So let's say in time, the interest rate goes up to 3%. What happened? I'm losing 2%. So my bond is not performing well. And what about if the time goes down, the interest drops 2%, which hopefully we drop that rate, right? Then I'm making a little more money. Right. So it's just the way the bond works. You buying the debt and you're fixed with your 3%. Now, how secure it is to invest in the stock and invest on bonds, or buy stock and buy bonds. Some of this instruments, just like insurance and annuities and stock, bonds, mutual funds, and money market, they have no regulation. It's not, they don't have regulation. It's open market. It's free market. Is the principle of capitalism, right? Is way I need to make money, right? It's to make money, and then that's where. So what happened if I buy stock? If my company collapses, if my company closes, my money collapses. I lose all my money. And I don't know if you heard, I mean, some of you may be young, but I don't know if you heard about the case of Enron. You know, there was a famous case back in the, I would say, 80s, 1980s, 1985, 90s, with Enron, a company that was huge, and it just collapsed. And all people that have their stock in their retirement, they lost it. Or have you heard about the internet bubble, right? All these companies say we're going to be the internet back in the, I would say 2000s, I guess. We're going to be company and the internet, and it's going to be great. It's going to be cool. And then all these companies collapsed. There was a lot of people that lost their stock. But when you buy bonds, if the company collapses, what happens? The rule is that creditors get paid first. Right? Of the people that have that give them credit, they pay first. So you are, in a sense, because you are buying this debt, you were a creditor for them, you give them money to them to pay their debts, you're going to be able to pay, your money is a little more secure there, because there are chances that you can get paid back. Of course, the bond, it is less risk. In that sense, the bond is less risk, and the stock is more risk. I hope it makes sense. So yes, when the company goes bankruptcy, the creditors are get paid. Then whatever is left, whatever the assets. Let's say Tesla goes bankruptcy. What do they have? They have buildings, they have machinery, they have inventory, they have ton of tires, they have ton of windshields. So what happened? Then they're going to sell them. right? Because whomever wants to buy them. And then for that money, they start paying back the creditors. And more likely, you're going to be one of them because you're the one who paid for the debt. But when the stock collapses and the company collapses, there's nothing you can sell it because everything was perceived value in the market, everything was valuable. Then you lose your money. So let's say, well, let's talk about cash then. Let's see how secure is cash. Well, the cash, there's a cost of money. There's something that is called cost of money. Assume you have $1,000. If you invest those $1,000 at a 4%, you're going to make $40, right? For example. So there's a cost there. There's a money cost. If I put my money in an investment account, I'm probably going to make 4%. If I just leave it under the mattress, it's going to be $1,000 and $1,000 and $1,000. But if I invest it, I can make $40. Or let's say you want to get a loan for $1,000. How much will it cost you to get a loan? They may probably charge you 5% interest. So basically, the cost of $1,000 is $50. That's the cost of money. That's the cost that you are losing when you don't put your money into some investment. That's what the economists say, right? But the cash is always going to be cash. $1,000 is going to get $1,000. But then some economists say, "Oh no! But what about inflation? I mean, that's your cost. That's your cost. That's your cost of money." But they says, "Oh no! But what about inflation? The cost of the price index. The money goes up." Well, let's talk about those $1,000 again. Now, in relation to items in the marketplace, let's say you have 4 boxes of candy. Those 4 boxes of candy, if you have $1,000, you can buy. The cost of those boxes are $250, right? Because you have $1,000, you have $2,000, you have boxes of candy. But let's assume there's inflation and there's no market. They're not items. You cannot find the cane, the sugar cane, and you cannot make for faxes, whatever the market says. Now instead of being 4 boxes of candy, now there are 3 boxes of candy. What happened to the cost of the boxes? Now just $1,000 divided by 3 boxes. Now the boxes are worth more, 333. So now, in the past, you were able to buy 4 boxes. Now you're only buying 3 boxes. So that's the cost of inflation. Or let's say that you have your 4 boxes, but then you have to get increase your salaries, or the water increase, or your insurance raised the rates, or the paper of the boxes was cost more. So then your 4 boxes cost more. So now you have to say, I cannot sell them at $250, I have to sell them at $300. So if you have your money, before your money was $1,000 ratio to 4, but now at $300, your money loses value because now you cannot buy 4, you can only buy 3. So that's what they call, is the cost of money. And that's what they say, the cash in your cash is not, it's not, you may be losing some money, some opportunities there. So that's why they say, cash is, it's another instrument that you can have as a retirement. You can save your money. You can save your money in the bank, and you can put the money in your bank. But this is something to consider. The cost of money, what's called the cost of money, or the value of money, that it can deteriorate and by the market, or it can opportunities that I can gain my money. So now let's talk about mutual funds. So the mutual funds are a group of, it is what is called, it is a fund, it is a group of instruments, either with the stocks for multiple companies or for bonds for multiple companies. There are multiple, it is what is called a fund. It is a pool of instruments, mainly on stock and bonds, that can have different distribution and different allocation, right? Depending on risk. And what is the money market? A money market basically is something that is more inclined more in the lines of bonds and cash. The money market is a little more secure. It's not going to give you a lot of interest, but it's trying to make your money work. And because money market, because it is a cash sale, it's a quick sale. You need to sell it. You can sell it the next day. You can sell it the next day. It is not a tie. It's not tied. Let's say, for example, you can buy a house, right? That's a retirement plan. You can buy a house, but by the time you sell that house, it's going to take maybe 3 months, 4 months. The money is stuck in that asset. With the money market, it is a quick sale. You can sell it, the next day. All of these instruments you can sell them the next day. Some of them are losses, some of them are gains. But the money market usually is a quick sale. It's recommended for investments that you're going to use within a year, right? Your money, you're going to use it within a year. It's going to be safe. It's not going to give a lot of interest. The mutual fund, for example, the mutual fund depends on how you allocate the distribution of your money. You can have more stocks and less bonds, or you can have more bonds and less stocks. And all this difference between having more stocks or less bonds, or less stocks, more bonds, it is the range of risk. If you are risky, you like risk and you like to put more money, you're aggressive in investments. Of course, your mutual fund can be a stock. If you want to have a mutual fund, which is a portfolio of accounts, and you can have stocks and bonds. Or if you want to be conservative, you can have more bonds in your portfolio and less stocks there. So you can have stocks separately, you can buy bonds separately, you can have cash separately, you can have mutual fund. Mutual fund is what basically stocks and bonds for. More likely, any IRA company, any investment company, insurance company, annuity, insurance, life insurance, 401k, simple, all this investments or this retirement plans work as the mutual funds. Most of them are mutual funds, because they want to make sure that the money that the investor is not at risk, especially those that are irregular, that are qualified or not qualified by the federal government, by the federal government. So they're the mutual funds. So basically, the mutual fund, what it is the mutual funds and the stocks and the bonds are for long-term investment. It is money that you want to buy, you want to let it sit there for 5 years, because the market has fluctuations. So you have to leave it there for 5 years. You're going to have 5 years in which you think you don't want to use that money. You can go into that direction with stocks and bonds. And usually the mutual funds is full of companies. It's full of companies that give the mutual fund, or the managers of the mutual fund companies are the ones that are that they buy multiple companies. So you may have in your mutual fund, and usually they send you reports of what are the companies that they're investing, so you can see what kind of companies you're investing in. Probably you're investing in some companies that are not within your moral guidelines, or maybe they're not. So who knows? They invest in could be in space, in aerospace, in banking, in multiple institutions. So far, that's what my presentation is about retirement plans and instruments and options and how the market works. And hopefully, after this session, you have a little more understanding of what is out there, and you feel more comfortable in making some decisions. Life is full of surprises. It's beautiful. And many times we get overwhelmed with trying to find the security that we need. And there's some instruments that can be used. And many times I know a lot of people, including myself, that when it's time to support the family, you burn your you burn your life insurance, or you burn your retirement account in order to support the family. So that's where we are. Are there any questions? Are there any comments?
This was really informative. So thank you so much for like really going down the line. I didn't realize there were so many different ways of looking at, the future investment, Wow, it was really good. Thank you so much.
No, my pleasure. I'm glad it will. What I always recommend is just to always put some money aside. And then once it builds up, put some money in, because the money you don't see, the money you don't spend, right? So you have to somehow put it aside and make sure that the money is okay. You don't want to lose it, because you never know when it works. And then little by little, they start building. The money will grow based on whatever we talk about. If it is a bond, if it is a stock, and most of the companies, obviously, when there's a financial crisis, I think I don't recall the date. It was 1980, I think, or there was 2008. I think 2008 there was a big financial crisis that even mutual fund companies went belly up. Everybody lost money. So it's part of life. Nothing is sure, but uncertainty. But that's not. I mean, it's it's just fascinating the options that we have here in this country to offset the risks. Any more options? And let me tell you, this rule of the stock is unique to the United States and unique to some European countries. Not all the countries have the concept of corporation or the concept of stock. I mean, it's incredible how many companies how many countries don't have it. Like in Mexico, they may have they may have the stock market, but the rules are not the same. Or in Italy, they have the rules are not the same for those countries, and they think it's the same, but it's not. You'll be deceiving if you don't live in that. But this is important for us. We're here. So, any other questions? Any other questions about retirement plans? Any other questions about contracts? Any other questions about all the other topics that we saw?
I have a question.
Yes. Just
Okay, so if you have a couple, can you have like a SEP account and an IRA account?
yeah.
Can you put like the maximum in the IRA and then the maximum amount in the SEP account per year?
That's a good question. I would say yes, because there are different accounts, but that's the question for your accountant.
Okay.
Yes, you can have as many IRAs, retirement accounts.
Okay, thank you.
Well, that's a good question, but that's for an accountant. I'm not.
Well, thank you, Gabe. This was really good information. As always, we are still recording the session, so this will be sent to you in the next few days. Any other questions for Gabe? Or for me about licensing? Anything like that?
The session we move fast and topics and we will probably finish early today. But
Yeah, no, this is great. I am gonna share something. I would do have another raffle before we end the session. And I'm gonna share just so you guys get excited with me. Just what we are gonna give out. Are you guys able to see? So you will be getting a Yeti and a little plant for your home. I think it's really cute. So we're still gonna have Gabe. I don't know if you are able to ask a couple questions, and the ones who won last week are gonna get that as well. But if you guys want to get two, go ahead and answer the question. If you already know the question, that's fine. If you can answer by admitting yourself or raising your virtual hand or typing it in the chat. Okay.
So should I ask the question now?
Yes. Or if you have something else to share, we can share that before.
No, I think this is the topic that I mean, that's all I have for today. Unless if you have more questions, we can talk more about any topic, but this is what I prepared for today. So we can go for the raffle and see if who can tell me what is a qualified retirement account. What when called qualified, what does that mean?
Are we talking about the different like kiosks, SEP, and the pre-tax ones, or what was the exact?
Yes, the difference between a pre-qualified account and a qualified account based on the terms of the of retirement plans. What is a qualified retirement plan?
One is pre-tax and the other one is taxed after.
Yeah, the qualified is pre-tax. Yeah, the qualified is pre-tax. That means you can buy it before you get taxed. That's the benefit that the IRS gives you, that you can buy it before you get taxed. Good. Yeah, we're winner.
Yay. Okay, and then one more.
One more question.
Yes, please.
Okay, I would say how about when you buy a bond, what are you buying?
You buying a debt?
Yes, good, Ruby. Yes, you're buying the debt of a company.
Yay. Yay for me. We can do one more. If you can come up with another question, Gabe. I always put you on the spot. I'm sorry. If you have one, if not, it's okay.
I was gonna say something, Gracie, like one of those tests that you had in school. If you invest $10,000 in the stock at 13% and you're no, just let's see. Well, I would say you can give me
It can be from another class.
huh?
It can be from another class as
It
well.
could be for another class, yes, but I forgot what the other classes were about already. No, well, can they list 5 options and retirement for the retirement? Just list 5.
I go, that's 5.
Okay, go ahead, Jessica. I mean, all of them were
So the IRA, the
Uh-huh.
401k, the Roth IRA, the SEP, and the simple.
good.
and then the Coverdale Education Savings Plan.
Yeah, good.
And I think that was 5, right?
Good, so we have a winner. Ding, ding,
Yay.
ding.
Yay.
Okay, Jessica. Okay. Thank you, Gabe. As always, oh, actually, I'm gonna stop recording.